Okay, Mzansi, I'm back, and today we're going to go over Bongani Ntanzi's confession that, of course, is now admissible in court. I'm of the opinion that, listen, this confession should have never been admitted in court because what was that? Inganegwane straight. It's not cohesive. It doesn't make sense. It is absolutely confusing. And worst part of it all, it highlights him. There's a part where he says, I didn't have a gun. And then in the same sentence, he says, but I had a small gun. So which is it, Bongani Ntanzi? Did you have a gun or did you not have a gun? But if I could pick up such a hole, my question is, why would the state then execute a warrant of arrest based on this highly confusing confession? But Mzansi, I'm gonna play it here. Please listen to it. Comment below. Let me know what else you find that is confusing. Even the parts where he mentions Kelly Khumalo, for me personally, are not convincing. And yes, I'm one of those people who would like Kelly Khumalo to come to the stand and answer exactly what happened in that home. But what Bongani Ntanzi is saying is not making sure. It is not making sure at all. For one, that he is able to name her by name. Remember, Kelly Khumalo never spoke to him. Kelly Khumalo spoke to one of the other accused over the phone. So how does he know that this was Kelly Khumalo? And then he says, but he wasn't calling her by name. He was calling her sis. So how do we know it was Kelly Khumalo? How do we know it wasn't Zandi Khumalo? How do we know it wasn't Mandisa, Senzo Meyiwa's wife? And another thing, Bongani Ntanzi was paid $45,000 for sitting in a car, walking into Kelly Khumalo's mother's house, walking out with a plastic bag, with a phone and a plastic container. We don't know what's in the plastic container. He doesn't say. And then getting back into the house, into the polo, and then handing over the plastic bag. Wow, he is a highly paid Inkabi because, and then he says he's never done this before. For $45,000, why was he even involved? This was highly confusing for me, but those are my thoughts so far. But let me pause here with my commentary. Let's listen to the statement together, and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
I used to work in Carltonville in 2014. I received a call from Senzo Meyiwa. He got my number from Muzi. They asked me to come to Basotho Hostel for Slores. I came to the Basotho Hostel and Senzo called me to the bedroom. In the bedroom, it was myself, Senzo, and Muzi. Whilst in the bedroom, Senzo told me there was a job that evening. Senzo and Muzi left the hostel. I remained behind and was drinking and chilling with my friends. Muzi called me to the Vivo vehicle later that evening. He was with Senzo in the vehicle. When this thing initially happened, we were in Muzi's room and we proceeded to Senzo's and Ntokosisi's room number 1B. While we were in Senzo's room, Karos and Ntokosiseni Mapisa arrived. Karos and Ntokosiseni Mapisa then called Kelly Khumalo. They told her that they were all right. We all then left in the Polo Vivo. It was myself, Karos, Ntokosiseni Mapisa, Senzo, and Muzi. At the stop sign, another Polo Vivo came, and Karos, Ntokosiseni Mapisa, Senzo, and Muzi alighted the vehicle. I remained behind. They spoke amongst themselves, and they spoke with Simpiwe, who came in the other Polo Vivo vehicle. Simpiwe gave Ntokosiseni 2 firearms. We then left. We went to the township for Slores. At Slores, we stopped the vehicle. A call came in. I think it was Kelly, and Karos kept on referring to this person as sisters. Karos got out of the vehicle to take this call, whereafter he called Mapisa, Senzo, and Muzi out of the vehicle.
See, that's another part that's not making sure. So there's 5 of you in the polo. Okay, 4 of them go outside the vehicle to talk about something that you shouldn't hear about, but they still go with you to the crime scene. Why? that makes absolutely no sense. But it does make sense to me now why they sit in two groups in the talks. Why there's Muzi and Bongani Ntanzi, and then accused number 345 sitting on the other end. Because what are you talking about, Bongani? What do you mean they got out of the car, you stayed in the car, and you got paid $45,000? For what exactly?
They had a meeting outside the vehicle. They came back to the vehicle. Untoki Siseni took out a firearm and gave it to Carlos. Muzi had his own firearm. Sifiso had his own firearm. I was the only one without my own firearm. I had a small one in my pocket, but didn't use it. It was given to me in the vehicle. Carlos said to us, we all had to be positioned since we all are going to hit Senzo Meyiwa. We then all got out of the vehicle. Sifiso was the driver, Muzi was the lookout. Mapiso went to stand by the window, also a lookout, for someone who might come out of the window. Carlos and I was supposed to get in the house. When we got to the house, he pulled out a firearm. He ordered everyone to lie down and he demanded phones and money. Carlos then gave me a phone. I had a plastic bag with me. There was a plastic container on the table with money. Carlos gave me the container, which I put in the plastic bag. Everyone was lying down. I believe Carlos was told where whatever he was looking for was. Carlos was about to open something when Senzo Meyiwa stood up. There was then a scuffle between them and Carlos, between him and Carlos, my apologies. During this intense scuffle, Senzo took a chair and hit Carlos with it. It appeared as if he wanted to prevent Carlos from taking whatever he wanted to take from wherever he was opening. kHUMALO'S was the one who directed Carlos where the thing was, which he wanted to take. During the scuffle, Carlos fired 2 shots. I did not see where Senzo was hit, because when the shots were fired, I went outside.
I can't believe we just went through a trial within a trial so that we say that this statement should not be admissible. But this statement honestly is cack. What? Okay, so Carlos fired 2 shots and then Bongani Ntanzi went outside. Bongani Ntanzi is being paid to be in there to make sure Carlos walks out really well and that the job is completed. But after the 2 shots are fired, Bongani Ntanzi just nicely walks out. Nicely? Just like that? Kanjalo nje? Ah. And this is the statement that Baloyi is leading with? No, man, this statement is not making sure. But let's continue listening.
I was still in the house when it was fired, and I left the house as Senzo was falling. I ran out. As I ran out, Ntokoziseni Mapisa came in. I ran and got in the vehicle. They remained in the house. I was there plus minus 5 minutes before they came. As I ran to the car, Muzi was standing outside. All came back, Muzi in front, Ntokoziseni and Carlos were behind him, following him. We drove away from the scene, and while driving, Carlos and Ntokoziseni asked for the phone and plastic container, which I gave them. Carlos then said, "Here is my watch." We drove to the hostel and went straight to room 1B. Carlos then pointed to Sifiso and said he must warn me. If any word comes out that they were involved, then he would kill me. Carlos and Sifiso then ordered me to go to the kitchen. The 4 of them, Carlos, Mapisa, Sifiso and Muzi, remained in the bedroom and they closed the door. Sifiso then came out and gave me 15,000 rand. I was shivering since I was never involved in such a thing before. We all left the hostel in the Polo Vivo. At the stop street, Mapisa and Carlos then got into the other Polo Vivo vehicle and left. During the drive to the stop street from the hostel, Carlos kept on pointing his finger at me, threatening me. He was also swearing because I was visibly frightened. I forgot to mention, before they parted ways, the 4 of them first had a meeting outside the vehicle. I also forgot to mention that Ntokoziseni asked Carlos at the hostel, "Are you sure you really hit him?" At the stop sign, he pointed me with his finger, saying, "I am telling you, You will, and your worship, your honor, is a profanity word.
Read it, because at the SCA, the Constitutional Court, they won't be having this document.
You will sit.
Yes.
And he said, a deal is a deal. He also said, if he hears anything, he will kill me. He doesn't know my parental home, but Muzi knows, and he will show him. Muzi walked to his place thereafter. Sifiso then said, I must not sleep at my place. He took me to a place in Johannesburg, a flat, after picking up his brother in Davidton. Sifiso and his brother then bought liquor and we drank. I went to sleep. Sifiso came to pick me up in the morning. They dropped me off in Davidton. After 2 days, Sifiso gave me further cash. I got a total of about 45,000 rand. This includes the initial 15,000 rand. I then got in a taxi back to Carletonville. I had to change my cell phone number since they kept on calling me, threatening me. One other year, Kwabini Sifiso called me and asked me if I was going to come to his hometown. I went to his house and called him, but he then told me he is at Muzi's house. I then went to Muzi's house. On my arrival, I discovered there was a meeting which was about to end. I do not know what it was about. In this meeting, the fathers of the guys who held the meeting were present. I was there plus minus 3 minutes. When we were asked if we are not family, we should excuse ourselves from the meeting. Kwabini remained, and I went outside. Kwabini later said the meeting was about an altercation between the sisters of Muzi, who threatened to tell the police they had Senzo killed. That's all.
So there you have it, Mzansi. Bongani Ntanzi's complete confession admitted into record. What are your thoughts so far? Is this enough to get a conviction on all 5? And the edition Kelly Khumalo for the death of Senzo Meyiwa. In my opinion, this is not making sure, it's just a story. But let's hear what you think. Let me know in the comment section down below. Remember to like this video, comment below, and subscribe to the channel. And you know, every time I was listening to this, I kept hearing Kelly Khumalo's song that says, Bazo Kuluma. Do you guys know the song? Let me play a clip here. Catch you on our next upload.